The following video contains sensitive topics such as mention of child sexual assault, violence, and sexual harassment. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, this video is a reply to statements about other people and me from UsagiShade, also known as iShade, eShow, or Eddie. I am the person who is being referred to as LY. As of January 27, 2026, his video has been enlisted. Yet the damage has already been done, which is why this response will still go up. The main reason for UsagiShade getting cancelled is for reusing his old Discord server as the official ISU community server, which held past messages of him and his friends/mods showing signs of being transphobic and racist. This level of attention led to a burner account speaking up about a grooming allegation, to where even more people came out about stuff from Usagi's past. UsagiShade created a video with poor censorship that practically doxes identities. The majority of the video is petty blows, jokes, and digging up irrelevant info about me and others taken out of context. Everyone involved in Usagi's video has every right to speak up to defend themselves against these claims he threw at them. With that being said, people who appear in this video and Usagi's video that you might potentially recognize, please respect their privacy and refrain from contacting them. These people have expressed that they are moving on from the situation and no longer want to be involved with anything Usagi related. Before his video went public, some people he referenced weren't even involved in the situation to start with. Speaking as LY, I'd like to at least clarify who I am. I am a former ex of his, when I was 14 in 2014. After breaking up, those next couple years of our on and off friendship showed very manipulative behaviors and harassment. I'm being wrongly targeted as the main villain out to get Usagi, all because I tipped a burner account with info he knew came from me. The people he calls out were only targeted because Usagi himself knows they have incriminating evidence of his recent and past behavior. I share this for context because the struggles I had faced with him holds information and history that connects to stories of others affected by him, further discussed in this video. To save your time, here is an outline of the points we covered.
UsagiShade is a bad person, and here's why. So, let's talk about it.
Thank you to Sir Musty and his community for allowing us to use clips in this section. In one of the comments on Usagi's video, someone pointed out how a moderator of his server brought up the grooming allegations and was immediately kicked and stripped of their role. This is true. It wasn't just any moderator. This person had been a close friend of Usagi's for a decade. She noticed UsagiShade was telling lies to the ISU team about something she knew was false. She voiced her concern about it and got kicked. This former mod posted how Usagi lied about his age, where he was claiming he was 17 in 2016, when there's public evidence of his real age. The same former mod also shares how Usagi admitted to her in the past about liking a minor while being in his 20s. And as you could tell from this clip,
it's no secret that I look very young for my age, so it won't come as a shock when I say this is a very common issue I have to deal with.
UsagiShade has an obsession with being perceived as young, fishing for others to guess his age. Even in his own video, he uses this screenshot to try to defend himself, but this alone is extremely questionable. Why is he knowingly conversing with a minor to begin with in private DMs, to the point where she's starting to gain feelings? Let alone that he knows their age gap, so why is it only being mentioned to her now? Usagi's age has been publicly known in the past. He has just turned 29 as of January 22nd, 2026. Considering that throughout his video, his age and the age of others aren't clarified.
Okay, so this was in relation to the groom allegations? But like, you've proven that these images are legit, which means you are in contact with a person. You haven't debunked the ages exactly. So this is a real image, it's just what was the nature of it?
It is important to understand the context of why he would go out of his way to hide it actively. He accuses others of digging through digital footprint while ironically doing exactly that for majority of his own video. People tipping off about their past experiences and trauma involving him isn't digging up old drama. And it is concerning that he would treat it as such, especially after publicly putting his face out there, leaving no room for doubt. If we're talking about digital footprint, another situation that was tipped to safety burner was during 2019. He posted a Photoshop image of a girl's face over a distorted naked body, which he shared publicly out of spite to humiliate and harass her in their shared social circle. People can fall in love quickly, but he clearly phrases that his wife and her family are so important, when it's only been a few months since they got together. He uses the word wife for collateral all over the video and his original Discord apology.
For
Sure. What about the allegations? Your wife seems lovely. I'm sure she's very supportive. Where's the allegations though? Can we talk about the allegations?
Lately, the two of us have been watching Gurila Kuma and Gaudi.
How hard is it to just say sorry? I'm serious. How hard is it?
Moving forward.
Can we start?
Now that the holidays are over,
More
and
wife
the dust is
posting.
settled.
It was publicly known that they only started dating 4 months ago. Even if they dated earlier than this, there has been public evidence that he posted himself of other girls he dated before her in 2025. That's not even to mention he makes himself out to be nonchalant, with a devil-may-care attitude. Yet still goes through posting a 30-minute video that barely addresses the allegations in the first place in favor of deflection and ignorance.
Sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this.
I would gain absolutely nothing from humiliating anyone or outing their personal business.
I mean, so why did you talk about them ad infinitum in this video then? Why don't you just like apologize? Like, you were humiliating him the whole video. He really wants us to know he doesn't care. You know how I prove that I don't care? I just don't talk about something. I think you spent like a collective, what's it, like 4 minutes talking about the thing that you probably should have spent this whole video talking about, right?
He had blamed his behavior on cultural differences of living abroad in Japan as a reason for not understanding pronouns and excused his transphobia when in his own video clip.
One thing I find interesting is that the screenshot, he says he's leaving the US to move to Japan in December 2024, but he was saying stuff like his Japanese culture that exceeded trans stuff. Oh, that's actually a good catch, isn't it? That's actually a really good catch. Oh, that was an excellent catch there, Mero. Oh, I don't get this trans stuff. When I grew up in Asia, I just didn't get... You said you were leaving for Asia. You've only been there for a year. Interesting how it works. I love how you spent some time trying to debunk it, but they've not even been... They're now harder than they were before, gamers. I came into this video thinking, yeah, he's definitely a transphobe. Like, he's a transphobe. No, he's definitely one. You know what I mean?
Another thing he strangely puts in this message is that he already had plans to get married, but this was well before the current girl he's with right now. It's strange and extremely distasteful he would not only bring up his sister's alleged trauma in a video regarding his allegations, but that he would monetize said video as well.
Okay, this feels like the kind of thing that you probably don't want to put... You're supposed to address the allegations. You're throwing a huge allegation at this guy, and we don't even know who he is. We don't know who he is, so now it's like, hey, don't call me sus. I saw him in electrical. That's what you're doing here. Is this really necessary in debunking the allegations about you? Is this really... Are we really outing your sister's trauma for what? For what? Why does this belong here?
In the portion of the video where he's supposed to apologize for his poor behavior towards being transphobic and the racist allegations, I feel as Sir Musty covered this section very well.
UsagiShade is transphobic, and here's why.
You're quoting that as if that's an unreasonable statement.
Quick disclaimer, I haven't really kept up with most of the drama, and it's been years.
Referring to people's genuine concerns as drama is a bit blasé. And by the way, his friend uses the word, by the way. This person in the group chat says the word. He censored it here. He says the sand N word hard R. And I bet he's gonna say, I bet his defense is, well, I didn't say it. Someone in the group chat did. It's like, yeah, you are the company you hang around with.
Selection screen, and a random on our team locked in cipher, to which another random says this quote here. That quote was basically a small inside joke for that session since it happened so recently. We normally
Okay, so you're quoting something that someone cringily said in the lobby. That still doesn't stop the fact that someone in your fucking group chat felt the need to just type out the word.
Unless it's purely satirical, I'd never say something this distasteful in a million years.
Okay.
Can't speak for this guy though. The group itself wasn't that bad.
The group, we just used to say the N-word. We just listen. They mostly consisted of Norman. And not keep him an admin your server until 2025 after you said you stopped the servicing. Oh, that part too. Yeah, that part too as well.
It was only when I decided to choose myself that it became a problem for said people.
Okay, that's all well and good and heroic, but like, there's being a people pleaser, and then there's letting people that use slurs, hanging out with people that use slurs. And you even just said they weren't that bad. I was just about to say, you even said they're not that bad people, they're just normies. You're not even making sense in your own description.
I think these were definitely blown out of proportion, and the backlash was a bit over dramatic.
I don't think it was. I think it's a cause for concern.
Me opting not to use pronouns doesn't equate to me hating an entire community.
You have pronouns though. Is this guy dense? Like, you have them. Everyone has them. It comes free with the English language.
It's all irrelevant to me.
Again, hang on. Is this really the kind of statement you want to make in an apology? It's all irrelevant to me. I don't care. It's all irrelevant to me. Is that the kind of statement you want to make in your apology, though? That's the thing. You probably don't want to say this to a community who had genuine concerns about you. Like, how horrible of a statement is that to make?
I hope you can recover soon. That's not me being The whole thing's just not really my
Yeah, guys, these whole trans people, they're not my vibe, guys. You get 10 minutes before we actually get into the video, this very quirky chungus editing, this whole like, I don't know, it's just not my vibe, man. We're barely even halfway in.
Whatever it is you decide to take from this, I genuinely hope it treats you well.
Fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible way to deflect an allegation. Good fucking lord. Atrocious. Didn't even say sorry once. These allegations, especially when it came to the transphobia, I think would have been relatively easy to debunk if you gave like an earnest apology. We did none of that. That's the part that fucks with me. So if anything, it just makes me think you're a transphobe even more. Or even worse, like someone who's like choosing ignorance. I would say that's even worse. You're deliberately choosing to be ignorant of a topic that affects people. You took a month off, and instead of like maybe separating the transphobia stuff, which I think had a lot more legs, and the grooming stuff, which had like barely any, you decided to lump them together. Like the messages were mixed, anime puns, nonchalant energy. Like is this the growth that you're talking to me about? You sat there for a month, and this is what you made? I don't know what to say. Like, I'm genuinely in shock here. If this is the growth you're talking about, I don't think you've done much growing at all, I'll be honest with you.
Reaching out to Safety Burner, I received a massive amount of unshared evidence from different sources that support the grooming allegations against UsagiShade. The girl in the arcade photos, referred to as Kat, does not deserve to be dragged into Usagi's video being a shield to deflect allegations. All we saw were messages from Kat, heavily cropped off and out of context, seeing absolutely no statement from Kat disregarding Usagi's grooming allegation towards her, which should be easy for him to provide if he is in contact with her.
But you don't have any proof of me committing or admitting to these claims in any of those DMs? Not even a statement from the girl you chose to feature for this claim?
Little did Usagi know, we do in fact have her statement. Although I can't uncensor her face for her own safety, it is solid proof linking her face and identity to everything. Usagi suspiciously blurred here that Kat was originally going to speak out about the grooming allegations, even to the point of posting her full face for a short window of time. The info was never publicly shared by Safety Burner on Twitter because Kat expressed fear of getting involved with Usagi again and asked the burner to remove all photos and hold back her statement. She even messaged me, paranoid, asking if Safety Burner could be Usagi, which eventually led to her deleting her account. From the video, we see she got back into contact with UsagiShade. Kat stated that in her message, Usagi only contacted her to clear his name. Seeing what unfolded about Kat in his video, our intention is not to use her evidence out of animosity. We want Usagi to face these allegations and take accountability.
Kat lived nearby and would visit quite often. Her living situation wasn't really the best, and she always made an effort to go out as much as possible. I'm still curious as to how on earth you came to the conclusion that me and Kat quote-unquote dated. Like I said before, I'd really love to see the source for that intel. I'm sure we all would, because it sure as hell didn't come from me.
Well, here, Kat says you never dated, but she didn't know why you kept telling people you did. Also, you told your friends she was 17, which was weird because she was about 13 to 14 at the time. Knowing his real age, let's do the math.
By the time these photos were taken, she'd been practically part of our family for a few years at that point, so our bond was more familial than anything else.
These public comments do not help his case. And for someone he claimed to be a little sister to him, what Usagi did to Kat was disgusting. And I'm uncomfortable to read this part aloud.
I mean, you've even gone as far as putting words in my mouth without anything that shows me outright making the claims you chose to highlight in your argument. I'd really like to see the source for these. I'm sure a lot of people would.
You can't source what's verbally said in the moment. But she says here you made it seem like she was poor wanting money, and that she wasn't old enough to get a job. It's also said here that you started to fear cops because you said, quote, I'm living a pedophile's dream, I look young,
It's no secret that I look very young.
and I'm messing with a young hot Latina. In the next section, we see Kat is trying to move forward while also sharing info about his past relationships, and also states she was 14 during the time Usagi took something special from her. After trying to set her boundaries and moving on in a new relationship, she had to screenshot evidence of Usagi's behavior. Her boundaries were not respected. There was one thing I noticed while looking at all the different evidence. 1. The conspicuous photo from a source who was there and tipped about her age being 14. 2. Photos sent from Kat herself when messaging Safety Burner her statement. It's the same hoodie. 3. Directly from Usagi's video. Same girl, same hoodie, next to Tito. Where was Tito mentioned before? Oh, that's right! From the old messages from Kat where Usagi tried bribing her with Tito when breaking her boundaries. We also have photos from other sources mentioning Usagi being accused of the same allegation towards Kat or other minors in the past.
Hello, I am Spade Guy Stolt, the one presented in UsagiShade's video, with some extremely disturbing allegations thrown my way. I'd like to take the time to actually address it myself, seeing as he put a spotlight on me in particular and brought up his sister. It's disturbing that Usagi would rope his sister into a situation like this, let alone weaponize her by obfuscating what happened when I was 14 years old, all to deflect the allegations currently on him by throwing it on to me. We were best friends at the time, in spite of our 3-year age gap. I'd come over to his place often to hang out. His younger sister, at the time, would sometimes sit on my lap while we were gaming within full eyesight of him and other family members, which he knows for a fact, but still decided to frame what was an innocent act into something malicious and perverse. I, of course, understand if she feels strange about it now, seeing as we've grown and are now adults, who have long become strangers over 10 years after the fact. Now, 12 years later, he insists that he silenced me immediately after, during this time, yet to my knowledge, we remained close friends until well after. He continues to hold a grudge on a version of me that had just got out of middle school. None of these concerns he brings up in his video were ever brought up until now, and even in his video, there's a big discrepancy in what he insinuates versus what his own sister recounts, with no further elaboration. In fact, in 2021, he messaged LY after he assaulted me, which is a separate matter entirely that will be discussed. With the allegations he placed on me, it does not make sense for him to say that he hopes we can all learn to get along, specifically Spade and I. And for how strongly he rebuked me, one would think that, for the sake of his sister, the last thing he'd want is mutual respect. One of my primary reasons for originally speaking out against him on Twitter is the fact that several years after I had severed ties, my next encounter with him in 2021 led to him physically assaulting me at LY's doorstep on June 13th. There were 4 witnesses during the assault. LY, her partner, my friend, Young Slay, who also knew Usagi from high school, and Anne, Usagi's partner at the time, to back my statement. He had been told explicitly by LY that he was not invited inside because I was visiting. Despite that, he ignored it, and when I confronted him at the door, he turned violent and tried choking me out after I blocked him from barging in. After the whole altercation, Anne exchanged messages with Usagi about what had happened, where he expressed that he did it just to feel like a winner. I didn't press charges at that time, simply because it was me and my friend's last day visiting, and we didn't have the time nor the money to reschedule the flight we had to make in just a few hours.
Hi, I'm Ann, and I dated Usagi from September 2020 to October 21. I'd never intended to speak publicly about our past relationship, but his recent video left me feeling like I had to. In it, he made false assumptions about my involvement with the Safety Burner account and used censored yet still recognizable photos of me, all while referencing to an ex. His statements spread misinformation that unfairly pulled me and others into a situation we had no part in. I'd like to quickly clarify that although I am one of his exes, my name and images that he used were without my permission. I had no affiliation with anyone on his server or the friends he chose to keep around. These were people he met and chose to associate with after our breakup. Earlier screenshots of his Discord conversation circulated online, and these messages were posted on X by a third party without censoring my name. effectively doxing me and exposing my identity. I kindly ask that anyone sharing, reacting to, or discussing these screenshots respect my privacy by censoring my name while allowing me to share my side of the story. It was hard to watch his video as he dismisses my experience of sexual harassment, something that was deeply personal and painful, as though as that claim was made out of thin air.
I mean, talk about hyperbolic. Some of these stories were just outright insane.
That moment made it clear I couldn't stay silent any longer. Rather than engaging with the allegations, he chooses to dismiss them outright, labeling the alleged story as hyperbolic and insane. Yet, these screenshots reflect my lived experience. The pressure, the boundary violations, and the fear I felt were very real. At the time, I stayed in the relationship trying to make it work, but his repeated sexual behavior constituted sexual harassment. My patience wore thin as he consistently prioritized his own desires over my well-being. During that time, LY was my emotional support and witness to much of this.
I can confirm this. My partner and I kept trying to help communicate to Usagi on how to control sexual outbursts, while I consoled Anne every time she expressed how uncomfortable and stressed she was. It got to a point where it was almost happening daily, where she expressed how he would blame her sex drive instead of his own sexual frustrations, even to a point where Anne would push herself for him from all the guilt tripping, and then cry about it to me how much it was starting to hurt.
Yet he continued to dismiss and erase my experience. These messages captured my frustration and hurt, revealing a constant pattern of disregards of my boundaries and feelings. His behavior was manipulative, self-centered, and revolting. The same behavior he continues to dismiss publicly. At one point, I truly believed there was something wrong with me, and it caused my confidence and self-esteem to plummet. Even though I'd moved on and was living my life, his actions forced me to relive the pain of the past. Now, by speaking out, I can reclaim my peace and claim justice on my own terms. I share this not for sympathy, but to set the record straight and give other victims the courage to speak up. My experience is real. My voice matters, and the harm caused cannot be ignored. Ignoring or mocking my experience doesn't erase it. Rather, it highlights why accountability is necessary.
It is our hope that within this video, people are able to see the true character of UsagiShade from the constant lying and covering up things with untruthful information for the sake of maintaining his image. Similar to what he says,
This will be the final time I address any of this. Moving forward, I'm not going to bring up or respond to anything involving this entire situation.
this is the last we want to speak of or be involved with UsagiShade.
In the League of Evil Exes, she's basically this guy.
Because the protagonist can't be a bad guy. Right, Scott?